Today I'm going to make a keto version of one of my favorite Mexican dishes. We're gonna make beef enchiladas. These ones are so great because first I show you how to make a homemade keto red enchilada sauce. It is so easy to make and way healthier and low carb than store-bought enchilada sauce. All you need is ghee, tapioca starch, some spices, and bone broth, and you have homemade enchilada sauce. I'm gonna share how you make the perfect beef enchilada filling and my hack to stretch out the ground beef. Rather than using tortillas, which are really high in carb, I'm gonna show you my favorite low carb tortilla swap out to keep these keto friendly. Okay, let's get cooking. To make the enchilada sauce, we're gonna start by making a roux. So we're basically making a gravy, like an enchilada flavored gravy. So if you've made gravy before, you'll be able to make this enchilada sauce. So I'm gonna start, I have my saucepan here. I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of grass-fed ghee. You could also use butter. To thicken this and make the roux, I am using tapioca starch, which is my favorite keto-friendly, Whole30-friendly, gluten-free thickener. So I'm gonna sprinkle this in. It's 2 tablespoons of tapioca starch to 2 tablespoons ghee, so equal parts. So now I'm going to whisk it together and get all the lumps out. And you want to cook it for like 30 seconds. That'll cook out any of the flour flavor. To this, I'm gonna add in my spices, which is chili powder, oregano, cumin, salt, garlic powder. I think that's it. So I'm gonna sprinkle this into the spices. It's gonna smell so good. And whisk it and get all the lumps out of this too. I like adding in the spices now. It's a lot easier to get it really smooth consistency before adding in the liquid. Okay, so now you can see it's a nice roux paste here that is bubbling. So to this, I'm gonna add in 2 cups of my homemade bone broth, but you could use store-bought chicken stock or even veggie stock. So I'm gonna slowly pour it in as I whisk it to make sure there's no lumps. Now that the liquid is in, I'm gonna keep stirring it until it comes to a simmer. As soon as it simmers, that activates the tapioca starch and the thickening agent, then it'll be nice and thick like a gravy. It has come to a simmer, it is nice and thick. So now I'm gonna add in a tablespoon of tomato paste. This is gonna give it more depth of flavor and a little bit more acid that it needs. So I'll stir this in until the tomato paste is all combined. Okay, I have it off heat. I wanna show you a little hack how you know it's good. If you put in a metal spoon and then run your finger down the back, if it leaves a line, you know it's thickened right and you have enchilada sauce. Oh, so good. I'm gonna transfer it here to this mason jar. So this I'm just gonna set aside while I make the beef filling, but this enchilada sauce will be good in your fridge for at least a week. Here I have my whole assembly line for the keto beef enchiladas all set up. So let me tell you what I have. Here I have the homemade enchilada sauce that we just made. Here I have the beef filling, which is so easy to make. I just got my cast iron skillet and I added in some grass-fed ghee. Then I sauteed some yellow onion until it was soft, added in some Butcher Box 100% grass-fed ground beef. To that, I added in 1 bag of frozen cauliflower rice. I love doing this for a few reasons. First, the biggest is it stretches out the amount of meat that I'm using. So it's gonna make that 1 pound of ground beef be almost like 1.5 pounds of ground beef for so much cheaper. And it sneaks in more vegetables into this. I seasoned the ground beef to taste with salt, and then I added in a 1/4 cup of the enchilada sauce to it. For the tortillas, I'm using these crepini egg thins. They're made of cauliflower and egg. There's a ton of wraps you could use. You could use coconut wraps. Sometimes people will cook like egg whites until they're set and use that as the tortilla, but this is my favorite tortilla to use. I'm using the smaller, it's like the taco size. These are perfect for the enchiladas. I got these at Sprouts. They're over in the refrigerated section by like the gluten-free breads. And then last, I have some shredded grass-fed Mexican cheese that I'm gonna add inside and then on top. First, I'm gonna add some enchilada sauce to the bottom of this glass baking dish that I'm gonna be putting the enchiladas in. So now we'll start the assembly. I like to start with this little plate. I'll add the egg thin. I'll spoon on the beef mixture down the center, sprinkle on some cheese, and then roll it up, and then I will add it into baking dish. Just like that. So I'll finish that with all of these egg thins. In my casserole dish, I was able to get 6 to fit, which is perfect for Sean and I to have for dinner tonight. And I still have some leftover of the ground beef that I'm gonna save to use like in a salad or a taco bowl on a different day. So on top of this, I'm gonna pour on more of the enchilada sauce to cover. And last, top it with some more cheese. It'll melt on top. Okay, these are ready for the oven. I'm gonna bake them at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes until they're warm through and all the cheese is melted. Okay, here they are warm out of the oven. They're all nice and bubbly. The cheese is melted. So I like to top mine with a little fresh cilantro that I finely chopped right on top. Now that it's on the plate, I like to top it with some sliced avocado for more fat macros and some creaminess, and also some sour cream. Okay, now the best part, it's time to dig in. These taste just like enchiladas to me. These tortillas taste just like tortillas. They hold up really well holding the enchiladas in. They get a little bit crispy on the edges that stick out. It's the perfect amount of melty cheese. This is a really good dinner. 10 out of 10. For the full printable recipe, head to my website, tastelovely.com. I have a link to the recipe below. And be sure to subscribe to my channel so you never miss one of my keto recipes.